Possibly, I won't say that's the reason for the World Champions not being so successful, but they've been training. They've been a long way from home. They've been living in unreal circumstances because the food is different, the lifestyle's different, the time clock is different. You're living in a hotel, you're training with your teammates. It's not quite the same, as just going to World Championship just maybe 3, 4, 5, 7 days before the actual event itself. It's actually going halfway around the world and finding yourself having to perform at world level at altitude as well. And the buzz is that the Germans are a bit brassed off with the time they've been out and are getting a bit homesick. Well, those 4 lads, unfortunately now from Germany, haven't even got a medal to show for all the effort and all the training, all the dedication. I feel sorry for anybody who doesn't get a medal for putting so much effort into it, but the world champions now failed to get a medal this year, so bad luck to the Germans. Coming up for the first of the repechage in the sprint heats, so they can fight their way back in again into the next round. Here we have Repechage of Slovakia, who lost out to the American Swift in the second round. In fact, that's twice he's had to fight his way back through the repechage. Chiappa, a surprising man in this repechage, got himself beaten by Russo, who's a very, very fast kilometre man, but Chiappa gave him a bit too much leeway. Second heat, Fiedler ran out the victor of Harnett, but obviously there's been an objection lodged because although Fiedler won that first of the round, he's coming back through the repechage at the moment. I cannot remember that there was anything particularly obnoxious about Fiedler's riding. But certainly he's had to come back now through repechage against Repechage and Chiappa. On the front, the Olympic sprint champion. Has got some very strong opposition here. Chiappa is in the best possible place, being third. He's got to go the longest way round, though. Fiedler's got all the speed at the bottom of the track. Chiappa has lost it out now, though, because he's dropped back a bit. He needed to come off the wheel of the Slovakian rider. I think he's given up now, and so Fiedler's gone all the way around here. Chiappa's said goodbye to that one. I can't go. I missed out. And Fiedler looking back over his shoulder now, who lost out in the first of his heats against Paul Swift, came back into the first round, and when we came on air earlier on and I was watching that lot, looked like he'd screwed Kurt Harnett, the fastest man. In fact, was not so. He's actually been relegated to the repechage, has now run out victor in the repechage, and that will take him through to join Hubner, who's already gone through into the next round. Van Eyden was warned for his riding against Nothstein. Italian just kicking back there and saying, that's it, I had enough this one. So Arrue of Chile getting ready for his repechage ride-off. I'm very pleased to see the way this chap's been spiritedly taking part in the sprint series so far, and let's hope we see more of him, because it's not often we've had riders from Chile riding at this level. So Bill Clay and Arrue up against this man Kiksis, an ex-junior sprint champion of the world, who for some strange reason allowed Moreno, the ex-kilometre champion of the world, to actually power around the track when I'd have thought that he'd have been much more technical. And in fact, all of these three, to me, Kiksis, Clay and Arrue of Chile, are much more what I call true track sprinters, full of the tricks of the trade, explosive riders. They're all, if you look at them, they're built like the proverbial outhouse. Strong, chunky riders who can explode. They have to go around this first lap at walking pace. You just saw Kiksis looking over his shoulder. There's nothing to stop Clay coming through like he did just then against Kiksis. Clay, the American sprint champion, has now decided to go up front, which is perhaps not the best spot, but he knows what he's doing. I would have thought second in line is good. Three-up sprinting so difficult. And they're all behind the Chilean at the moment. Chile, Chile, Chile. As you would expect in Colombia, they'd rather see the bloke in red full of fast one here. He's been training up in America. He spends most of his time there where all these riders go. And in fact, he'll be no stranger to Bill Clay. And the Latvian rider Kiksis here now is sandwiched between them. The Chileans decide to go to the front on this one. Oh, in for an interesting ride here, because Kiksis, looking over his shoulder, seems to look upon Bill Clay as being the biggest problem. He's allowed the Chilean to go away. He's trying to put Bill Clay, the man who's lying third, into the box behind the Chilean. He's left it very late indeed, and Bill Clay's come inside. He found a way through, and Bill Clay has come through, and that was the man that Kiksis thought was the danger man, and he found a little gap as the Chilean went up, and all the tactics of Kiksis were to no avail, because he went through that door that was opened by the Chilean rider. How on earth could Kiksis expect him to go up? But that was absolutely beautiful timing by Clay. If the Chilean hadn't gone up, he'd have been in no man's land, kicking back and screwed out of the next round, and Kiksis would have done just what he wanted to do. Let's look at this again. You see the Chileans riding high, and this is where Clay comes round, because the Kiksis on the top in the white jersey thought that the Chilean would stay inside the red line, allowing Clay nowhere to go. It meant Clay would have to come round the Chilean, round Kiksis, but no, the gap is there, and through comes the American. Bill Clay showing great brinkmanship. don't know what Marty Nothstein is making of that one, sitting here reflecting the tactics of his countryman there, Bill Clay. Marty in the American Championship finishing third spot this year. He's the reigning world sprint champion. He's had that nasty crash in training which seems to have knocked the zip out of his legs. Not only the sprint champion but also the Kieran champion. He's waiting for his bike to come up at the moment. And for Marty Nothstein, this very tall and likable American, he has to get through this. You know, in recent years this is not the way that he has been used to working his way into the finals, having to come back to the repechage. And let's hope we get his bike and the race underway shortly, because in about 2 minutes time the little bird that flies in the sky is going to have its supper or something, and we're going to lose the pictures, but only for about 20 minutes. We're coming back at 1:35 Central European time. So come on, Marty, get yourself strapped in before the dicky bird goes off for its supper. So anybody listening to our program live out there in Europe and it all goes off to something else, then hang on, 20 minutes later we'll be back. Then no doubt giving the dicky bird some more corn to fly. And when we come back then, it'll be in time for the women's individual pursuit. So anybody in Great Britain that's still awake, this is going to be quite interesting as far as we're concerned, because Yvonne McGregor's made her way through in the qualifying rounds, and we're going to see her on the track. And I hope you'll stay with us and have a bloody old Saturday. You can always, I don't know what television's going to cover the race from Longchamp in Paris, the old Arc de Triomphe or something. If you want to go put a few bob on the bookies for the horse racing tomorrow and just swan about, recovering from a late night watching bike racing, whatever you're planning to do on Saturday. If it's not important, then stay with us, please, because I'd like to talk to somebody out there. It reminds me of one of my German commentator friends, Wolfgang, was saying in some athletics events which they're on air on Eurosport from 2 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock next day. He actually said for 3 nights consecutive athletics between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, anybody who listened would be entitled to a gold card from Eurosport. I don't know what the gold card was, but in fact 3 people wrote in and said, yes, for 3 nights we've been awake for 4 hours every night listening to you, Wolfgang. Well, at least it's not so bad tonight. It's Friday night, enjoy yourself. And when we go off air for this 20-minute break, please do come back, because Yvonne McGregor, the British girl who stands a good chance of medal, will be on the track, and there'll be some more exciting stuff if this is anything to go by here. We could well be bringing you the men's quarter-final on the sprint as well if the old bird keeps flying. And now Marty Nothstein on the front here, hammering round. He's got to get through this one. Whoa, behind him then Paris is beginning to swing up above Buran, and Paris is coming round very quickly. Paris is probably the sharpest, faster of the two, but Nothstein has to go some now. He's cut the door on Buran, so he can't come up on the inside, and Nothstein goes through, and that's a good ride by the American. That'll give him confidence. Marty Nothstein in tremendous form then, and that has taken him through then into the next round, but it will have slapped his strength just a little bit to have had to come back via that repechage. He's not been quite on form, but he's showing that given a challenge, he will take that challenge hard and he will respond to it, and he's done just that now to come through. And here he goes, showing all that power. He likes to ride from the front. This sort of track is good to ride from the front. And on this occasion he did just that to beat Buran back into second, Paris into third. We're going to take a short break then. Time for yours truly to have a quick gargle and a pot of tea, and be back with you in 20 minutes time. The World Championships, the action with the women's individual pursuit, and I hope you'll join us then. That's the next event on the programme. See you in 20 minutes time.